I'm Julie, your microdosing mentor, and welcome to Uncover Your Magic, a guided microdosing transformation and now vlog. I'm really excited to be here. I'm so excited that you're here with me to grow with me. This is the first of many vlogs, and I'm excited to jump in. We're going to get into so much in this space, starting with today's video of what is microdosing and ending at, I don't know, explore the nature of consciousness? Who knows? I love everything in this world. I love the research. I love the positive effects. It's so powerful and transforming. And that's really where my passion for this work comes from. When I was in college, and even before then, I was really interested in the brain. So I started off with a psychology, neuroscience, philosophy major. And it was cool to learn the scientific side of how your brain works and neurons and synapses and all of that. And it was also really interesting to think about like the black box and Plato's the cave and why do we think? What is consciousness? Alan Watts will tell you that consciousness is the only thing we can't get behind, right? It's kind of like the final frontier. We can't get behind our ability to think, or can we? That's sort of something cool that we get to explore within this work. And so I veered off of that track and now I'm back on it. And I'm really excited to use my science background to bring you concepts that don't really have the approachability factor and help you use them in a way that's applicable and useful in your everyday life to distill those concepts into easy to understand bites so that you are able to take them and incorporate them and make the most of them and to make them accessible because knowledge isn't power if knowledge doesn't have practical applications. I think this work is so transformative. I know this work is so transformative. I came to this work feeling like I had a plateau in my own personal growth. And I'm a bit of a psychonaut already. I was already very interested in the ways that these psychedelic substances could expand consciousness and perhaps help me to break through plateaus. I started microdosing on my own. I started using my tools because I am a certified life and success coach to create structures and tools to facilitate and maximize the impact of microdosing. I started researching, taking classes, and here we are because microdosing is such a powerful agent. I started off my career and I still work with high level entrepreneurs, executives, CEOs, because a lot of times those people are the people who have great success in business and maybe not success in other areas of their life. And I help them create a 10 out of 10 area, create 10 out of 10 life in all areas. But I also realized like this microdosing thing is really powerful and it can help people at a variety of stages. Some of my clients had dealt with anxiety and depression for a decade plus and are finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel through the use of this modality. So I'm so happy you're here. Thank you. I know your time is valuable and you could have spent it with anyone else, but I'm happy you're spending it here with me. And who knows where this vlog is going to go. I feel really excited and lit up about it, and I'm excited to see how it transforms and evolves and expands throughout the course of this work. So let's jump right in. What is microdosing? Microdosing is this concept of taking a very small amount of a substance, a tenth to a 20th of a normal dose, and using that smaller level to get the positive benefits without maybe the full immersive experience. And here's the thing, like microdosing doesn't just relate to one thing. I think that's sort of a misconception. Like people act like microdosing means one thing, but it's kind of ubiquitous. Like you can microdose cannabis, you can microdose LSD, you can microdose psilocybin, which is what I work with. You can microdose reality. I'm sure you've seen those memes on the internet, which I love. Um, it's just taking a very small amount of something, enough to have some effects without fully going into a trip, a psychedelic experience. It's non-intoxication, but it is transformation. So Jim Fadiman is a psychologist, and he's really the person who coined this idea, this term of microdosing, and the idea of non-intoxication, but transformation. So what's interesting about psychedelics is that they reduce defenses. They bring our walls down. They decrease rigidity in our brain. They soften our ego, our default mode network. And they lessen boundaries, anxiety, and pain. And we're going to get into all of these different areas that I've touched on in other videos. But right now, I just want to focus on what is microdosing. So microdosing can be used to treat a variety of things from the symptoms of depression, OCD, anxiety, addiction, and PTSD, all the way to enhancing creativity and breaking through plateaus, which is where I was at. So, reports, clinical studies show that 80% of participants in these studies have lifted symptoms of depression. And they've done it differently than with an antidepressant or an SSRI. People say things like, I'm back, I feel like myself, when so often people who experience anxiety and depression and look to SSRIs or other pharmaceuticals for relief, they don't feel like themselves. They feel apathetic. They feel like zombies. They feel like shells. And that makes them resist treatment and it makes them feel like there's no way out of these symptoms. Sometimes when I get really excited, my nose itches. So you'll see that through other videos as well, I'm sure. Other people say that it reports or other people reported that they stopped cycles of suicidal thoughts that had been persistent throughout their lifetime. Finally, they don't feel that urge, that call of the void, if you will. So, most beautifully said, psychedelics are something that allows you to experience awe in the world that you had once forgotten. And being able to microdose to still retain cognitive capacity to drive, to have intelligible conversations, to go to work, to go about your life generally, but also experience a lifting of those symptoms of depression, that overwhelming pressure of anxiety, the rumination of thoughts, the fog that is depression. That's huge. Microdosing is huge. One thing I also want to touch on is this idea of functional mushrooms. And we're going to get into that in a whole other blog of like what are functional mushrooms, but they're concepts that you're often going to see together because people recommend not only microdosing psychedelics like psilocybin or magic mushrooms, but also functional mushrooms. So functional mushrooms are anything from like cordyceps, lion's mane, reishi, all of which have unique properties in and of themselves, from neuroplasticity, decreasing inflammation. Lion's mane is great for memory. So when we use psychedelic mushrooms in combination with functional mushrooms, we're really maximizing the benefits of this practice. So I recommend following Stamets protocol. We're getting into that in a separate video and who Paul Stamets is, but it calls for not only psychedelic mushrooms in a small amount from zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 grams, but also the addition of lion's mane and niacin, which is just like a bee vitamin. So when we're able to use functional mushrooms plus psychedelic mushrooms, we'd see this like explosion, this firework of beautiful new activity in our brain that allows for new neural networks, that allows for transformation, that allows for lifting of the fog and the rain and the sun to come out in our brains. I love this stuff, you guys. I'm so excited to dig into all of these concepts with you. If you are interested in microdosing and doing so with a guide in an intentional container where the environment is controlled, which is what I recommend because of concepts called set and setting, which again, we're going to get into in another video, then reach out to learn more about Uncover Your Magic, a guided microdosing transformation, where you will learn everything from how to microdose, like the nitty gritty substance of it, to taking yourself through these very powerful modalities like meditation, hypnosis, breath work, really thought-provoking journal prompts that allow you to get to the core of the things that hold you back, the things that stop you from being who you are, from living confidently, from living fully expressed without the burden of anxiety and depression, that keep you playing small. And you can do so in a beautiful, supported container and get coaching every week. We do live breath work every month. It's amazing. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, if you've been looking for microdosing and know that it's something that is super powerful and can bring up some tough emotions, which I can. That's what community members report. That was my own experience as well. Then be sure to reach out and we'll get you started. And until next time, you guys, have a magical day.